Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a reviewer who should have retired by now. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel. I don't know what day it is because this is one of those rainy day videos I'm recording in advance, just in case I am not up for recording a video on the day. So I don't know when you're seeing this. Just presume that it's yesterday plus one. But this one is a little bit more special. This is a particularly odd toy, but it is one that is right up my alley. So what you see before you is from the Miniforce line, a Korean transforming toy line akin to some of the other ones that I have reviewed on this channel before, like the Tobots, etc. But Miniforce has been doing some really good toys as well, and then they've done some super weird ones. The previous series, everything transformed into a head, and I don't get it. This time, everything still transforms into a head, but this is one of their Dinoid warriors, and it transforms into a dinosaur head as a tank. In this case, an ankylosaurus named Magma Kylo, and I freaking love this. So for me, it's an odd vehicle mode. Yeah, because it's an ankylosaurus head on treads, but it scratches a very weird itch, and you'd have to be an old school gamer in order to accept the reason why. This gives me vibes of the D-Rex from Mega Man X, the final boss of the boss levels before you reach Sigma himself. You know, it's just a big T-Rex head that is just a tank that rams you and throws plasma balls at you. But it's giving me vibes of that, so I'm way more into it than I think a lot of people would be. Let's actually talk about the toy itself. It is cast in two tones, a very dark gray as well as orange, bright orange. Now, everyone knows my aesthetic choices by now. I am very much in the multi-tones of green and hit of gold, preferably with black as the secondary color. That's my color palette. And then obviously my brand colors are black and red. You know what gets me harder than green and gold combos? Magma. I love a good Magma aesthetic. Give me that dark gray, not black, gunmetal. Give me dark gray and bright orange, gold or yellow to accent, and it looks absolutely awesome to me. There is quite a bit of paint on here, the gold as well as the black around here in the eyes and the blue. You can see a lot of it is actually done in plastic as well. You can see these little lines of white going through here. That's because the gunmetal's been painted here on the front, and those teeth are actually molded in the correct color. The silver across the bottom, the treads, that is also paint as well. You are also going to see a few translucent elements. Now, I've had a bunch of these toy lines in the past. All of them seem to use a better quality of translucent plastic. I haven't had any of them break on me the way that Hasbro stuff has. But then again, I also haven't owned many of them for that long, so we shall see. It does roll, by the way. There are 4 tiny little wheels that will actually let it roll on an appropriate surface. In the back here, we get to see where a ton of stuff is getting stored. So this is all going to be weapon parts that we can unclip if you want a cleaner look at the tank, and a much more obvious dinosaur head. And then here in the back is what is essentially their take on a force chip or cyber key. You see the ankylosaurus head on this side, the Dinoid logo here on this side, and the rim is completely die cast. So that really hurt my finger to show you just now. It just kind of slots in here. It doesn't activate anything. It's just kind of thematic, and just something that all of them tend to come with. So, with all that explained, yeah, it's a neat, if different, vehicle mode. I'm into it, but I acknowledge it's an odd one. So let me transform him, and you can see what you're getting as far as a transformation experience, because Miniforce is one of those lines where if you feel a little bit bored of a standard transformer, yeah, this is a nice one to branch out to. I'm going to start by double hinging these arms out. They're going to unpeg from the underside and then push themselves out a little bit. You'll get those cleared. I'm also going to unpeg this piece from the bottom to free it from those pegs. And I can go ahead and fold these horns all the way to the front. Now, with all that cleared up, I'm going to raise that 90 degrees and extend out the legs like so. Split them like that. And now into getting the feet out. Flip down the white sections here. Nice easy hinge. Then it's going to push out these gray parts as well. Those are your heels. So go ahead and give those a push as well to get them into the right spot. So make sure everything is nice and tight there. I'm going to start rotating torso parts around. Get them in the right spot. Let me get the head flipped up. There we go. Like that. So this is interesting. So the midsection has a collapse to it. So you need to pull that open. And then this piece also collapses. So you need to make sure those line up correctly and are done in the right order so that this belly piece can fit inside the waistline. That's going to lock all of that into place. All right. So yeah, just making sure I got everything done. That's going to hang off the back. That's not a big deal. Go ahead and lower the arms like so. These little panels here, we need to open those up, get those flipped to behind the shoulders. That's going to separate the arms like that. And then rotate the wrists, and that's going to be his robot mode. That's the transformation. Nothing terribly complex. I will admit, the way that it works, I always, like with a transformer, I always expect certain parts to move down or move up, depending on how exactly it's going to transform. So it does throw me a little bit at first, but it's not a hard transformation once you figure out what's going to go where. Just give it a couple times, and yeah, you're pretty much on point. You're pretty good. It's not a bad transformation at all. It's fun to move, and you can hear all the ratcheting joints in this toy. Korean lines do not, they do not kid around about that. Now, just to show you what you are actually getting, unfortunately, I don't have a transformer handy, but the Deadpool I was using for a size comparison before is still there. You are getting a 6-inch robot out of this. So it's a height-wise, it's a little bit on the tall deluxe side of things, but the bulk is definitely bigger. It's like there's definitely a lot more mass to this than there is like a standard deluxe toy. So, yeah, you're somewhere in that like big deluxe, small Voyager range as far as the actual size of the toy itself goes. I'm going to move in close so you can get a look at the head sculpt. I do think the white of the head sculpt blurs some of the details. I couldn't tell if he's supposed to have a mouth or a faceplate. He is supposed to have a mouth according to his artwork. So that's a little bit of a knock against it. Probably should have been painted in silver, but still, look at the head design. I love the head design on this. Like the translucent there at the top actually does work for me. The gold trim, the ankylo spikes. It's a really cool looking mode. It's a really cool looking head sculpt. I'm really happy with it. In general, like there's such good design aspect to this. Look at all the translucent inlays in the chest. You know, that's not load bearing, by the way. There is a hinge inside the torso panel that is load bearing. It does have a hinge of translucent plastic in case you want to be extra cautious about those things. But most of the plastic in here is just used as decorative insert. You know, there's nothing structural about these treads, for instance, or the sections of his knee, or like here inside the horn, that has all that translucent orange behind it. That's fine. None of that worries me because none of it is structural. None of it is handling stress. So I'm not worried about it. But it does reveal a lot of really nice added deco. Oh, actually forgot, we can also rotate these down too. So we can have a little bit more detail showing in the robot mode. Just make it a little bit more dynamic in the legs. Yeah, you can see a little bit of gold painted on the feet as well. Yeah, just all across, you know, and there's the silver in the fists. I like how the fists are done in order to get that look in the vehicle mode, and now they just kind of look like really big knuckles in the robot mode. It's a really nice design overall. A lot of detail going into it. A lot of detail. Even little bits, like here at the top of the shoulder, you get that baby blue that was the eyes in the vehicle mode. Do I call it a vehicle mode? Do I call it a head mode? One or the other. Probably both. Yeah, just overall fantastic look to the toy. If you want articulation, they aren't as articulated as a Transformer, but they aren't bad either. The head is ball jointed, plenty of up and down, all the way 360 left and right. Shoulders ratcheted forward and back, and there's a soft detent moving out. Because of the design, he is limited in how much his shoulder can go out, and moving backward is going to limit it more, so keep that in mind. 360 degrees on the bicep. Elbow well beyond the 90. Love to see that. You got a ball joint in the wrist where things are up and down, left and right, and full turn. Great to see that. Nothing in the waist. He has no waist articulation. He does have the universal hip joint, which again has an actual spring ratchet moving backward and forward and a soft detent moving outward. This one is far less restricted. It's proper universal motion there. 360 degrees on the thigh. Knees don't quite get to 90 degrees, so that's one limitation of it. And there's no ankle tilt, but it is sculpted at an angle, so he can stand a little bit more naturally. Gives him plenty of posing, even though he's not quite up to a Transformer standards. But still, you're going to find some way you can keep him that's going to make him like look really, really nice on a shelf or in any action display that you want. And speaking of an action display, we actually do need to give him some kind of weaponry, right? So, for starters, this will come off, and look at the shield on this. Look at the gold crest in the center, all that orange going through it. Man, it's super cool. Now, if you want, there is a peg on the back, so you can actually peg it onto him and give him that shell of an ankylosaurus, or just use it properly as a shield. It will mount on either forearm and looks pretty good as a shield weapon there. But an ankylo's main feature, the coolest part about him, is the club tail. So we need to get a club in here, and that's where this comes in. So what is essentially the tank turret of the vehicle mode has actually a pretty clever trick to it. So I'm going to get this rotated. There we go. Push on one side to bring the other side out. That's going to make the entire thing solid all the way around. I'm going to take all these orange pieces, fold these down, connect like that, then fold these down too. And that's going to give you a mace weapon. A big Magma mace that's going to fit in his right hand and complete his look in an absolutely awesome way. Look at that boy. That is a proper ankylosaurus depicted as a transforming robot. That's absolutely awesome looking. Like I fell in love with this thing immediately as soon as I learned that it existed. Very, very cool toy. Now, I will say, this is a line that has a combination to it. There's 4 of these guys, and then there is a center figure that all of them combine onto. For full disclosure, this guy's like $65 on Amazon, which means the other pieces are $65, and then the centerpiece, the main robot, the T-Rex of the team, he's like over $200. So you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm good with the one. I will spend that money on a transforming robot based on my favorite dinosaur in one of my favorite color schemes. But I ain't spending that just to complete his team and put him in a combiner that I'm not going to keep him in because I want him present on my shelves. So that is Miniforce Dinoid Magma Kylo. Absolutely awesome figure. Feels really, really nice. Looks really, really nice. Very different vibe and flavor from Transformers while still feeling familiar. If you're up for it, go take a look. I know those Korean lines can tend to be expensive, but if you think about it, if you're a third-party collector, it ain't going to be that bad. And it definitely does pay to give some kind of fresh take on the whole transforming robot experience. So there you go. That's the review, and I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.